Hey friend, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying healthy and safe. Have you ever had one of those weeks where you're just feeling a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy, a lot of things happening? You feel like you're running on all cylinders? That's where I'm at this week. It's been nonstop, both in the professional world, in the personal world, and here on YouTube. Thank you so much. We've hit 4,000 subscribers, a little over 4,000 subscribers. If you've been here for a while, you know I appreciate you so much. If you're new here, thank you so much for the opportunity to create videos. Just hanging out. There's a lot of things going on, in the world. It's just non-stop, and we all have busy lives and things going on. I think two of the things that bring us together sometimes are our pets, our family, the man upstairs, thanking him for things we have, things we don't have, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that bring us together. One of those things for me is automotive. I love cars. I think it's something that's relatable to all of us. If you have a favorite car or a car you grew up with that you like, let me know what it was down in the comments, because I do a lot of things in automotive world, and it's really fun to cover topics like this. So if you feel like hanging in with me, let's take a look at my 78 Ford. I'd love to tell you that story and share that with you. And then soon we'll do a Dove video and give a little update on my Dove, because everybody asks about her and how she's doing and things like that. So we got to do that soon as well. Just a lot of cool things going on. Thank you. Hang loose. Let's get this truck fired up. Oh, it's cold out there. So welcome to the inside of this truck. Pretty much mostly original. Fire's right up. High idle there. All right, so the truck's warmed up a little bit. I'll spare you the fan noise. This is a 78 Ford short box with a 351 V8, 351 M400, and then NP 235 transmission with the NP 205 new process 205 transfer case. So the difference between the 203 and the 205, I believe, was one is belt or chain driven, and then the other one is gears. So I've messed around with the tranny a little bit. I had to put a new throwout bearing in not too long ago, and new clutch, stuff like that. A little bit of maintenance, but mostly original. The seats, a couple little tears. I'll show you guys that. Let's take this over to the backyard and take a look at it. I'd love to take you guys for a ride as well at some point. Hopefully we can make it to the backyard here with all the snow and ice. But you can hear the every once in a while, like, you can hear it. It's getting a little bit warmer right now. So we're back out here. Actually, so I don't drive this thing a lot in the winter. Usually it's in a garage, staying nice and warm. We're gonna play a little off-roading here, drive it down into the backyard. You can see we're spinning. Might have to lock the hubs in. Oh, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. These things are known to hop, these short boxes too, if you try to do burnouts and stuff. Pull her into the backyard. I might have to lock in the hubs. Oh, yeah, let's get out and lock them in. Oh, actually, I think I have them locked in, so we'll just hit this down in the 4 high. Boom. See? That easy. Back her up here. I don't know where that log's at that I dropped that tree, but come on, baby. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Sorry if you're bouncing around a little bit. That'll be a good shot right there. All right, let's go back outside. All right, so before we start talking about this truck, I'll give you a little backstory. Back in '78, my dad picked up a truck just like this for right around $6,200 off the showroom floor. At that point in time, he had a job at the power plant, got a job there in the power plants, and was in the Navy, was doing okay. So he picked up a truck. He's always been a truck guy as long as I've known him, and he's had other vehicles, but he's bounced always back to trucks, and I think he enjoys driving trucks a lot. So we got this truck. Whenever I was born, we had a motorhome, or I'm sorry, a pop-up camper, and we pulled the pop-up camper with it, and we started camping all the time. Well, my sister was born a couple years later, and when she was born, we outgrew that, so we went to a 28-foot camper. So this truck was a truck we used to tow that camper. There's some fun stories there too. So my first vehicle that I ever drove was probably when I was 2 years old. At 2 years old, I pulled a gear shift backwards and drove the car back into my neighbor's house and crashed it. So that was the old boats back in the day. And that was my first vehicle I ever drove. The second vehicle I ever drove was probably this truck, starting when I was like 7 years old, to the point where I knocked the mirror in one time. We were at the campground, and I remember driving it, and I used to have to pull on the back of the steering wheel to get the clutch to push down, because these are heavy clutches in these trucks, especially when you're small, and I was smaller. So I ended up knocking the mirror in and drove it around the campground, come back, and I'm like, man, luckily I didn't do any damage. So my dad's truck was on the road for like 20 some years, and a lot of things happened between the beginning and the truck not being on the road, but it was a really cool truck. We pulled the camper with it. We had a lot of fun in it, a lot of stories. I'd like to share some of those stories with you if you guys would like to hear them. But basically, I've built cars, I've built trucks. I got into vehicles when I was like 15. My first vehicle was an 89 Cutlass Sierra, 2-door, and then I went and built a couple other cars, an S10 with air ride, and a couple other projects that were always fun. But I always wanted to take my dad's truck and restore it, and I knew that he was tied up. He had purchased a house, he was working on the house, he didn't have the funds to really restore the truck the way it needed to be. He did buy a cab, a new cab, some fenders, I think a hood, and a new bed for it, but it took a couple years, and by the time he was ready, the truck was rusted out, and it wasn't worth doing anything to. So there's a big gap between then and then me finding this truck. So I've always had it in my head that if I was in a position to do this, I'd love to be able to find a truck like my dad had and have it for both of us to share and enjoy and spend time together in. So now about 3 years ago, I come across this 1978 Ford F150. It just happened to be the truck. And for a couple years we were searching. I'd say 4 or 5 years I was searching pretty heavily, watching the market, watching what trucks were going for. And they were always like either redone and they were 80 grand or 70 grand, or they were rust buckets and they needed a lot of help. So I was trying to find a good balance of as original as I could and as close to what my dad drove so that I could surprise him with it one day. And fortunately, thank the man upstairs for putting some things together for me. I was fortunate enough to be able to come across this truck. So let me show you this real quick.
I knew it. Why? Really? Why? It even looks like Halloween. Hi, Katie.
It does.
I got parts for it up in the attic. You need to get mud flaps on so it don't bang the. Really? Where'd you get it to? Well, it's even got the round headlights. Where'd you find this?
And then if you'd like to hear any other stories about it, I'd love to share them because I have a ton of stories in an old truck. But let's take a look at it right now. So starting from the front, all I did on the front of this truck, of course, you know, 78, 79s is when they went to the square headlights, and the 78s had the round headlights. All I did on the front of the truck was put a American flag license plate in all black on the front of the truck. I did change the tires. These are 31s, Goodyear Wranglers. I went up a size on the tires. Of course, you know the wagon wheels. I love the wagon wheels on these vehicles. The hubs work really well, they lock in, everything's really smooth. Of course, you can see the orange pinstripe. This is an F-150 Custom, short box. It's got the mirrors there. It has the Carlisle glass. I did put the tonneau cover on the back. I wanted to have a cover for the bed just for certain things. I don't always use a cover. Back in the day, we had cabs, like the cap top on the back. But I did have to fix a spot here. I had to get a spot painted right below the gas cap. It was just, the paint was a little bit bubbly. There's only the area probably from here to about here was painted. I wanted to get that fixed before it got worse. And when the guy that painted it for me, he does a lot of classic car restorations. He said, man, when I took it down the metal, this truck is just beautiful. It was undercoated by Z-Bart back in the day. So that was something that was done on this truck as well. So the whole underside is undercoated. And when they sprayed undercoat back in the day, they just sprayed it everywhere. So that was kind of a mess. So the new tires, a little bit of paint on the back quarter panel. Other than that, original paint. You can see the tailgate here. I did change the rear bumper. I do have the stock rear bumper. I keep all my original parts, including the original spark plug wires from 1978. But I had to do some things to just get it running right. It sat for a long time. 75,000 original miles. I also put a hitch on there, just like my buddy outside with Shibe. It's probably the same hitch. I think it's a Class 5 hitch. But with the step bumper, I like the step bumper a little bit better. That's what we had back in the day growing up. So that was a change that I've made. It has the hooks on it on the side for your tie downs. So a funny story too is on the back window. The one thing my dad's truck had was a sliding rear window. And I was like, Dad, the only thing I didn't get was the sliding rear window. And he said, Nick, my truck came with a regular window and I smashed it. So we put a sliding rear window in. So pretty neat little story. Got the cab marker lights up top. Truck's in really, really good shape. On the bottom of the doors, you can see some spots, but it's really just the undercoating. Everything's pretty much solid. We can actually take you in this side, show you this side of the truck here. And don't mind the mess. It's not very, very clean. And hopefully it's a little bit dark, but you guys remember those floor mats? Those were popular. I had to get those. I had to keep those. I remember those floor mats. My dad had the same ones. So you can see the doors, really good shape here. Really good shape on the interior. Interior is pretty much mint. Aside from the seats, you know, a couple tears. This seat is perfect over here. But over on the other side, you can see a couple tears just from getting in and out. I don't know if anybody has any information on where I could get this restored without losing the original seat. You got your glove box here with the custom badge, and hopefully that adjusts there. Lighting. We got a mask there, some gloves. We got a flashlight so you can wand down people when the Chevys are broke down. The only thing that I did this year when I pulled the transmission out, this original floor mat, this is something I have to change. I did buy an aftermarket one. I'd love to find another original floor mat. If anybody knows where I can find one, they have a tag up in the top right corner over here for the original floor mat. But you can see when I pulled it out, it's just so brittle because it's so old, 43 years old, it just kind of fell apart. So that's the only thing. And let me show you this too. You know, I don't even know what's back here right now. Windshield wipers, some belts. But if you look at like your cab corners and such, these things are, I'm sorry, hopefully you can see that. This truck is solid all the way around. There's like no rust at all. Other than that, that's this side of the truck. We'll move our way around and we'll take a look at the motor. I don't think I've done much else on the outside at all. Show you the other side here. Open this door. So it's numbers matching, engine, transmission, everything. Nothing was changed there. You can see these couple little tears in the seats. Again, cab corners on this side where they were known to rust out. They are solid. Everything is mint condition. You got that old truck, you know, the old truck smell that you have. And you can see the dash. I mean, this image isn't going to do it justice, but vehicle's perfect. The old thin steering wheel, which is why everybody wore gloves back in the day, because these steering wheels get cold. I usually put that towel down just so I don't tear the seats up anymore. And then let's take a look at the motor, and we'll take a look under the hood. Nothing's crazy's done under the hood at all, but we'll pop it. Pretty good shape, 351 M400. You can see the tags are in perfect condition. All the tags are on every part, which is nice. You know, back in the day, the boxes, the control modules used to go bad, and I did replace that. I have the original and one that was behind the seat as a backup, and sometimes those boxes go bad, or your coil. I did replace the spark plug wires. I have the originals. They were stamped 1978. Everything's numbers matching. I started cleaning up the intake. I want to get that back to a nice aluminum. There's some overspray from them spraying the undercoating on it. When they sprayed the undercoating on this, and you can see there's no rust, it was sprayed everywhere. So I put my foot down here this summer when it was hot, and I messed up the undercoating, but the metal underneath is like clean. You got your little jack there. You know, it does have a reman brake booster on it. Those are known. I need to get that painted and do a little bit of work here, but once I get to the point where I have a garage, that's something I'm going to mess with. So one thing I want to do after I clean the top of this is I did change the fuel filter on this. I know the fuel line, sometimes these things would vapor lock. You want to run like 93 in them to prevent the vapor lock, but some people would use clothespins because they run right against the motor there from the fuel pump. But the accelerator pump, I went to change that this year, and then I dropped the new one and lost the pin, so I have to change that. I know that the accelerator pump needs to be replaced in this. It's not too bad, but I can tell and maybe the power valve. So I bought a kit from Mike's Carburetor Parts. Really cool channel, knows a lot about these motorcraft. I think it's a 2150. So I'm going to mess around with that this year. And I hope if you guys stick around for these projects, there's going to be little things we'll do here. The last thing I want to show you, you guys remember closing hoods like that where you actually have to put some weight into them? Last thing I want to show you is the bed. Aside from the tonneau cover, I did get the bed spray and bed lined. This bed was in like perfect condition. No dents, no dings, nothing. So it was really easy to spray and bed liner. We got some axes back here, and I'll definitely in the summer I'll show you guys. But the whole bed's spray and bed lined. I have the original exhaust for it. I did change the exhaust. It's basically straight through. This truck there's no like emissions and stuff on it. But that's something I did as well. I keep all the original parts. I have everything original in the shed for it if I ever want to bolt it back on. Other than that, I'm just trying to keep it stock, clean, and enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed this video of the 78 Ford. I'm going to have to cut this a little short because it's going to get dark out. I got to burn some boxes, get a couple things done. We're definitely going to do a proper video of this truck and have some fun with it. I want to get my dad out there to drive it. It's hard to be behind the camera and driving it and flying a drone and doing all those things at the same time, but I want to get my dad out there to have fun and drive it, and I'll get some video this summer and this spring. And I like to play with it a little bit in the winter, but it's a tough battle between, do you want to drive the truck or do you want to let it sit? And I think, you know, I'm learning more and more that you only live once. You never know what can happen. So if you have something like this, get out and enjoy it, you know, especially if it's family related or stuff like that. If you have an old car or something, spend some time with it and have fun with your family with it, because that's important. So I hope you guys stay healthy and safe. I hope you stick around, and I hope to see you in the next Pixel.